Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of our weekly Stars Align discussion video thingy, whatever these are. And today we're here to talk all about episode 8. However, before we begin, I do, as always, have to give a big thank you to those of you who shared last week's video over on Twitter, at JelloJan, at FireOtaku845, at SakochiAnime, at Kisa-chan94, at AlexDrift11, and at Yin Yang Reader. Thank you guys so much for sharing last week's video over on Twitter, and if you too would like to have your name shouted out in next week's Stars Align video, then be sure to share this video around on the internet, and then tag me at JoJo Talks Too Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout your name out in next week's video. Oh, my friends, we have a very, very good episode to talk about this week. And, you know, I always feel like I'm constantly flip-flopping on this show. Not in terms of quality. I've always, ever since episode 2 or 3, I don't remember when it is that I jumped on the series proper, but it did take me the first go, right? You guys know, if you've seen the first video I made in the series, the I Was Wrong video, where it did take me a second pass on Stars Align to really get into it. But ever since then, I've been like Team Stars Align the whole way. But when I say flip-flop, what I mean is that I keep flip-flopping on what I actually want to see from the show. Some weeks I wish they would focus more on the tennis than the drama, and other weeks I wish they'd focus more on the drama than the tennis. And this week, I was like, get the tennis out of here! Like, as soon as they started talking about, challenge matches and trying to spy on the other team that they're facing for the summer team tournament, I was like, I don't care, get me back to the drama. I don't even want to say drama, because it's just the character stuff. Get me back to the character stuff. Is this show, and I was really thinking about this, I'm just spacing, but is this the sports anime of the season? Or, sorry, is this the sports anime of the year? I genuinely think it is. Admittedly, if I'm having this hard of a time thinking about it, I don't know if there's any real competition. Because technically Run with the Wind shouldn't count, because that came from 2018, not 2019, since that was a leftover. So is there any other sports anime that even really compete with Stars Align? I genuinely don't know. Admittedly, it's more of a drama than it is a sports series, but that doesn't necessarily diminish the sport element of it either, because even with as intense drama and character stuff that they do in this show, what it really does excel at too is its animation. When the show wants to, it is stunning to look at. I mean, some of those tennis matches, I think even the people who are here for the drama and kind of don't care about the tennis can admit that when the game is played, it's fascinating to see. It is really, really cool. I'm not even too sure where to begin. I guess we should start with Nao's helicopter mom, since that's pretty much where we left off last week. But the big thing I really want to talk about is Yuta, or I guess in this case, Yu, since that's what he wants to be referred to as, or she. I don't know. I suppose Yu is sort of non-binary, so I guess I should be saying they. Yu is such a good character. And this isn't a situation of me maybe pushing or trying to guess at subtext. They straight up say that Yu is non-binary. You themselves say that he is that they are non-binary, and we'll get into it. First, we got to talk about Nao's mom, because why do all the parents in this show suck so hard? Yu's got this helicopter of a mom who is constantly hovering over him, you should be studying, you should be studying. I've never understood parents like this, right? I've never understood this. I've seen parents like this. And I truly do not understand how these parents think that their kids are gonna be grateful. You really think Nao's gonna grow up and be like, yeah, you know what, Mom, you were right. I'm glad you were so incredibly overbearing and didn't let me have fun and do shit outside of schoolwork. You're so right, good for you. Nao's mom sucks. His friends referring to her as the witch is incredibly accurate, because yeah, I would call her the same thing. She's actively ruining this thing that brings her son joy because he was a little bit late coming home on a Saturday. And she even says what fun is going to a barbecue if you're not drinking? So I almost hit this desk. So this bitch, and I'm sorry, but I'm calling it like it is. This bitch knows that going to a barbecue is fun and that she's clearly like, no offense, I don't see you bringing home like big money, you know what I mean? You guys live in an apartment. I don't see you guys living in a house. So clearly shit didn't work out for you either. I don't know why I'm so mad, but like when she said like what fun is a barbecue without drinking? So you know that it's fun to go out partying with your friends. Even if these kids weren't drinking, they're having a barbecue with their friends. You know why that shit's important, and you're gonna hold him down. Why? You wanna know why, and this is the truth. Because parents who are overbearing like that, in my opinion, and when I say my opinion, I mean facts, they're upset that they didn't get to do something that they wanted to do in their lives. So they just totally hover over their kid and really micromanage their kids' lives so that they can do what they wanted to do themselves, that they can live vicariously through their kid. And Now's mom, friggin' like perfect example. Now's mom shit probably didn't work out the way she wanted, and so she's gonna micromanage her kid's life and live vicariously through him. Now, I would run as soon as humanly possible. Okay, well, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. You shouldn't run away. Becoming a teen runaway is not exactly a great life, and not really the answer either. I really don't know what the answer is for Now, because that's the thing, right? Because I was a teenager, believe it or not, several millennia ago. But like, I know it's hard, and I know there's no right answer, and it can seem like the world's against you. Like in Now's case, what do you do? I really don't know. If I was Now, I would maybe just turn to another adult figure who does have your best interests at heart. Maybe the coach, maybe a teacher, maybe even turn to his friends, explain the situation, turn to someone like MAKI'S mom who would listen, lend an ear, even though Now is not particularly close with Maki, and I don't think Now's ever met MAKI'S mom. But if you turn to your friends, maybe their parents can help. It's tough, man. It's tough, and I really felt for Now. That's such a difficult situation to be in. And I've said this before in other videos, but like the parents in this show, they're either great, like Maki's mom, like out there trying her best, bringing home as much money as she can for her and her kid, like supporting her and her kid on her own. Like Maki's mom's great, and then you get people like Maki's dad or Now's mom. Or like, or what even the hell is up with Toma's mom? You know what I mean? Like, or Yu's mom? Why is it always the moms? Even Mitsuo's mom, man. Even like Mitsuo even says like that her mom says that drawing is stupid. Like, what is happening? Why does everyone's parents suck in this show? No, wait, somebody else's parents don't suck. I'm trying to think. I can't even remember who it is. Rintaro? I don't think his parents suck. I don't remember. Okay, sorry, I had to get that rant out of the way. I didn't even know I had that in me until I ranted. Normally, I'd be a lot more chill and reserved, but you guys are catching me right off of a shift at my retail store. And I actually don't mind working at the store usually, but it's Christmas time, so I'm a little bit stressed. So when Now's mom started popping off, I was just like, ooh, this bitch. Okay. Let's talk about going undercover, or in this case, let's go ahead and talk about some LGBTQA plus whatever. I don't know what the full abbreviation is these days anymore, but let's go ahead and talk about some LGBTQ stuff, QA, because hey man, I'm in there too. So let's go ahead, and when I say me, I don't mean allies, you jerks. I mean asexual, frickin'. And I know, I keep bringing up that I'm ace. I see that comment a lot. I delete those comments, by the way. But like, whenever people go like, I take a drink every time JoJo mentions that he's ace on his channel. First of all, my channel, not yours. Second of all, like, I almost wanted to make an entire video on why I bring this shit up all the time. Because the fact that this is even, like, that the whole you thing is discussed was such a shock. It's upsetting. It shouldn't be a shock. This kid shouldn't have to be hiding in a library, reading like a book on LGBT, trying to figure out what's quote unquote wrong with him. Because you know what? I was you in school. I had a very, 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 very similar conversation with a friend of mine. Not even in high school. These kids are having this conversation in high school. That gives me hope, man. Because there is nothing wrong with you. There's not a damn thing wrong with you. I don't mean you as in the person watching, I mean you as in the character. But there's nothing wrong with you either, I'd assume anyway. If you're maybe like, if you're hurting people, don't do that, don't be an asshole. But like, yeah, if you're just being you, Ain't nothing wrong with you. Not a damn thing wrong with you. And there's not a damn thing wrong with you, the character, either. I think you should get to grow up into a full-ass adult, and then once you as an adult, they make a decision. That's what I think they should do. That's just my opinion. I am not trans, admittedly, but I was, again, really genuinely happy to see this because, A, it's shockingly progressive to see this in anime. I think it's important to remember that if you find something somebody does to be odd or just strange or you just don't understand, to remember that it has nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with them. And if it makes somebody else happy, then it doesn't really matter what you think because it wasn't intended for you. Because it's not your life, it's somebody else's life experience, you know. And seeing you try to come to grips with being non-binary, not even sure really if that's even the right term. I don't know, it really struck a chord with me. And seeing you have that conversation in general, it made me feel a lot of things. It made me reflect on me coming to terms with being asexual. It made me come to terms with me being biromantic and all that stuff. And it just brought those feelings back up. And that conversation was so genuine. That conversation of like, I don't understand, like, I don't know what I want. I had these conversations with friends of mine, not just at parties, but even just like one-on-one with friends. I've had those conversations about not knowing what I was, like what label you can throw at me. I didn't even tell people that I was ace for like the longest time because I didn't even know what it was for a long time. I just knew that I felt different and I didn't tell anybody about it for a long time. And then you always have that one friend who you feel comfortable with. And you and Maki have that relationship where they're just comfortable with each other. And I do see that 1000% as a friendship. I don't ship the two of them, but I do see just this genuine human bond between the two. And they say later that Maki has this like sense to him, that he can just sense when people are upset and he gravitates towards them and he's just a good dude. He like wants to make other people feel better. And that is the sense that I get from Maki. But yeah, I don't know. Like you could tell it really hit me because I'm kind of speechless. I don't know, it resonated with me a lot. I've been like not in the exact same situation, and even Maki says like, listen, I don't know the exact pain that's going on in your heart. I'm pretty sure that was like what he said. He basically said like, I don't know the exact kind of situation you're in, but I can kind of relate and I can kind of understand where you're coming from. And like everybody's like, and it must be a little bit like what my mom's friend went through, which was another thing too. We had like a, what was it, FTM? I believe female to male, I believe it was. I could be remembering it correctly. But I believe it was, yeah, a female to male character in the show. And I hope that person comes back and we actually see them on the show. That'd be great. But yeah, you could tell this really, I don't know why it hit me so hard. I guess just because you don't really see it a lot in anime. And that's not me saying like every anime ever should have like a bunch of LGBT characters. It's like, no, it'd be cool. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but it's more of just, I guess because we don't see it a lot, it kind of caught me off guard, and I just wasn't expecting it to be here. I don't know why I was so shocked, and I haven't even talked about anything else in the episode yet. And honestly, I probably had to cut out so many chunks of me going off on insane tangents that I don't even know how long this episode's gonna be. I didn't even get to talk about Mitsuo. Mitsuo has this moment where we kind of figure out why she's been tailing the boys' tennis club for so long, and not so much like the specific reason, but I think she must have known that Taki, whatever we're calling the teacher. I almost called him sensei. Whatever we're calling the teacher, the coach. He is a art teacher. And Mitsuo is an artist, and I don't know why it took me so long to connect that, like, oh, that's why, because she wants to eventually, like, she's been drawing the boys' tennis team, and she approaches Taki and asks him to look at her drawings because he's the art teacher. At least I assume he's the art teacher. He's hanging out in the art room. And by the way, my man drinking his coffee properly, but it was a nice moment to see Mitsuo sort of get an entire. Like, she doesn't get the whole episode because it's sort of split between Mitsuo and Yu, which I appreciate because I wanted, ironically enough, for an episode about Mitsuo and Yu, they don't really interact all that much during the episode, which is weird because their friendship's like one of the more interesting friendships on the show. But yeah, it was nice for Mitsuo to get some character moments as well. And again, that's another situation that resonated because there's this quote from Kevin Smith that I love that says, "You get nothing from discouraging an artist." And it's true, because if you encourage an artist, they might grow up to draw your favorite comic book one day. They might grow up to be your favorite animator one day. But if you discourage an artist, nothing goes out into the world, not a damn thing. Like, maybe that artist doesn't go anywhere, but at least you encourage them because maybe they could have gone somewhere. If you discourage them, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Oh boy, I'm sorry, I went all over the place. This episode gave me a lot of emotions. I don't necessarily think it's the best Stars Align episode. There are better episodes than this, and there's episodes that make me feel just as much while still being a little bit more cohesive. There's parts of this episode that I was like, I don't care. Like I said, like there's parts like the going undercover, the whole actual undercover scene, I didn't care. It was cool to see how pretty Maki and Yu were, but that was pretty much it. Just seeing Maki and Yu in incognito, in drag essentially, was dope. But them like capturing footage, I didn't care. Literally just the drag was like the part that I thought was interesting. Other than that, I didn't care about them spying on the other team. I didn't really care about them possibly getting a practice challenge. I'll care next week, but the fact that it started taking up screen time now, I was just like, I don't care. I just don't care. Like any scene that wasn't about Yu or Mitsuo this episode, I truly didn't care. I don't know, man. I'm sorry this video is all over the place. I'm gonna hate editing this, and I apologize to future me. Future me, sound off in the comments how long it took to edit this. But anyway, that's gonna be a video. I have to go. On that note though, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and give this week's episode a pretty strong grade of A. I think you guys can tell that I felt a lot of emotions from this week's episode. I'd feel weird giving it any less than an A. And on that note, everybody, that's gonna wrap up today's video. But before we take off, I wanna give a big shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, namely those in the Earl Grey tier: Calvin Atkinson, Crowbar of Irony, Dominic, Urza, Genkotaku, No For Nothing, Maria Teresa, Mirth Mouser, Omner Garamond, Cell, Shadow Creative, Sipco Games, Somastan, Steven, Tristan, Verdon, and Westbourne Eastbred. A huge thank you to those of you who support the channel over on Patreon, and if you too would like to join the T Squadron, then be sure to check out that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, see all the cool rewards you can get over there, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive Discord. Thanks once again for checking out today's video, everybody. If you enjoyed it, then you've probably been on the internet long enough to know what to do already, so I ain't gonna tell you, but I will say that it is appreciated. And if you are feeling stressed out today, then you go have yourself a warm cup of tea, and I will talk to you all again real soon.